Unworthy, but forgiven. Let's look at Calvary today, a bleak hill with 3 crosses, and let's think about the past, present, and future of a man we know only as the thief. He hung on a rough wooden cross beside Jesus Christ. His life of crime had landed him on the roughest side of Roman law. Here he was, suspended, quite likely naked, and in terrible agony before a crowd of jeering onlookers. It didn't help that his fellow thief clung to bitterness to the very end, insulting Jesus Christ even while he hung dying. Luke 23, 39 to 43 tells us how the story unfolded on that bleak hill. One of the criminals hanging beside him scoffed, "So you're the Messiah, are you? Prove it by saving yourself, and us too while you're at it." But the other criminal protested, "Don't you fear God, even when you have been sentenced to die? We deserve to die for our crimes, but this man hasn't done anything wrong." Then he said, "Jesus, remember me when you come into your kingdom." And Jesus replied, "I assure you, today you will be with me in paradise." That's a New Living Translation. With me. The thief never lived a life that was with God before. He lived in opposition to his laws and his will. Now he was in a helpless position, dying the most humiliating death. Yet he did not blame God or curse those around him because of what was happening to him. He recognized that his own sin had led him to this place of torment. But when he looked at Jesus Christ, he knew in his heart that Jesus did not deserve the cross. He knew that Jesus was not only a good, kind man who helped people. He knew that Jesus was Christ, Israel's King. In the midst of unbelievable torment and shame, he found grace. He felt grace. He used his last resources to reach towards the grace of God on display beside him on a cross. I can imagine him looking towards Jesus and painfully rasping out the words, "Remember me when thou comest into thy kingdom." I can imagine Jesus Christ turning to look at the man beside him, seeing the thief through the blood and sweat that stained his face, and saying above his agony, "Today you shall be with me in paradise." The thief could not undo his sinful past, and his future looked far worse, but today made the difference. Suspended on Calvary's hill, abject sinfulness and failure met absolute grace and love. We may feel like total failures. We may be going through intense trials right now, but let us reach out to the love and truth in Jesus. He is not against us. He is not insensitive to our pain, even if the circumstances we're going through are our own fault. He has positioned himself where we can see him. If we would simply look beyond bitterness, condemnation, and the opinions of others, he can and will give us the grace to believe his truth even at our worst. We can receive a promise that will bring us hope in the midst of our most terrible and painful moments. A promise that breaks the power of the past and relieves the suffering of the present. A promise of his presence, of his blessings, and of an eternal home with him.